I'm Anil Kumar sharing with you a test question on functions. The question here is, find the domain of each of the following functions. So we have three functions, all are rational functions. In general, we can say that rational function is a ratio of polynomials. So let's say p of x over q of x, where q of x is not equal to 0. And that leads to restrictions, correct? So that results in restrictions. Restrictions in domain, correct? Okay. Now with that in mind, let's start solving the question. It really means that we have to factor the denominator and find what are the restrictions by equating denominator to 0, right? So let's do the first one. F of x equals to 1 over x squared plus 4x plus 3 could be written as 1 over 3 times 1 is 3. When you add, you get 4. So it is x plus 3 times x plus 1. Now clearly, we can write down the restrictions here. And therefore the domain, let's write down the domain directly, right? So domain here is that x belongs to real number. There are many ways to write it. Let me write in the most simplest form, and that is that x belongs to real numbers such that x is not equal to minus 3 and minus 1. So that becomes the domain of the function, since these two values will result into 0 in the denominator, correct? So that is how you have to write domain. Next one is very simple. You could write this straight away actually. This implies that x minus 2 is not equal to 0 or x is not equal to 2, right? And therefore the domain could be written as x belongs to real numbers where x is not equal to 2. The third one here could also be factored. We are looking for a product of minus 3, sum of minus 1. So it could be written as 1 over x. Now that minus 3 and minus 1, it's better to use a quadratic formula here, right, rather than getting into, because factors of 3 are 3 and 1. They will not result in minus 1. So let's use the quadratic formula. So which is x equals to minus b, which is plus 1, plus minus b square, which is 1, minus 4ac, minus 4 times minus 3 times 1, let me write, over 2 times a, which is 2, right? So that gives you a value which is 1 plus minus 4 times 3 is 12. When you add it, it's square root of 13 divided by 2, right? So these are the two values which are not valid, correct? So instead of factoring, you could write all this, but that's not required. So what we do here is equate denominator to 0, right? That is q of x equals to 0 to find the domain, and then you can write down the domain, and that is x belongs to real numbers where x is not equal to 1 plus minus square root 3 over 2. 13, I'm sorry. 13, right? Plus minus square root 13 over 2, right? So that is how you can actually write domain and range for the given rational functions. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching and all the best.